Hey guys, Marco the dog trainer here. Today we're going to be doing a quick review video of the Benebone 4-pack for large dogs. This is your typical nylon plastic flavored bone. In this video, I'm going to talk about why I prefer these over like regular traditional bones and dental chews and things more like that. And then we'll go over kind of like the key points that I really like about these particular toys. Now, I'm going to put links in the description to this particular set, but they also have options for small and medium dogs and even puppies. So feel free to check those out if you're interested. So let's get to it. So, okay, the first thing that I want to talk about is these versus dental chews and traditional bones. So any type of edible chew, like a dental chew, rawhide, anything like that, I worry about dogs choking on them because as our dogs start to kind of chew on them, they get smaller and smaller and smaller, and at some point, our dog makes the choice just to eat it. And, obviously most dogs across the country are probably chewing on these things daily, and it hasn't been an issue, but there is a chance your dog can choke on it. So I don't want to play the odds on my dog's life. So that's the first reason why I don't use any type of like dental chews. Now, moving on to bones can splinter, and they have really sharp pieces that kind of fall off. And, don't want my dog swallowing that. I don't want anything sharp, passing through their system. And then, same thing, I don't want them to like puncture their mouth or something like that. Then the second thing about bones and dental chews is that a lot of times they're like oily the way that they're prepared. And when our dogs chew on them, that oil gets on like the carpet or like the couch if our dog was chewing it on there. So they're kind of gross. So that's why overall this is the only type of bone I really give my dogs, okay? Now, let's move on to the first key point of why I use these is durability. So most of my dogs are pretty heavy chewers. And these are probably the most durable toy I've personally found. I've never actually seen one like get gnawed down to a size that's not safe. I've never seen one crack in half. The really only thing that happens is that they start getting scuffed up on the sides, and that's ultimately why I end up throwing them away. Just because I think all these nooks and crannies invite bacteria, and it might get a little harder to clean over time. And I think that my dogs just kind of enjoy a new one once they start looking pretty rough. So I would say maybe once every year or two, I'll end up just replacing them. But outside of that, we'll kind of move on to like cleaning real quick. I think I've heard of people that like just boiling them. I've never done that. I typically will just soak them in like a bucket of soap water and then rinse them off. But they're usually pretty easy to keep clean. And like I said before, they really don't make a mess either. So that's nice. Now, moving on to the next thing is that we'll talk about the kind of advantage to getting the 4-pack, the variety, that there's a couple kind of good advantages to that. So one, all of these are flavored. And I want my dogs to have choices, right? So there's a fish flavor that I can confidently say is probably the fish. There's a wood flavor that is probably the wood one. And then the third flavor is bacon, and I'm not sure, but I would imagine maybe these two are the bacon. I don't know. So I think all of us want our dogs to be able to kind of pick and choose which one they prefer. Then the other thing that I like about the variety is that there's a lot of different shapes and sizes. And I didn't really realize this until I recently bought this 4-pack, is that there's a kind of a little bit of enrichment to this type of toy. Because like especially, I noticed it with this one, is that my dogs were trying to figure out kind of like how to use their paws to hold it so they could like chew on a particular point. And I actually was like realizing like there's a little bit of thinking involved here. So maybe not as much enrichment as like a typical puzzle type toy, but there is a little bit. Now, moving on to the next thing outside of variety is the dental benefits. Now, any type of chewing is really good for our dog's teeth. Because it helps remove, any type of like plaque or whatever builds up on their teeth. I think the advantage to these particular toys is that they will hit the back teeth a little bit better. A lot of dental toys that I use that are more like hard rubbers and things like that are more so the front teeth, at least for my dogs. So these ones really, like, I'll see my dogs gnawing on them and really getting those back teeth. And for some of the shapes that are a little more unique, I've seen my dogs using kind of their entire, different parts of their mouth depending on what piece they're kind of trying to chew on. So that's kind of like the dental advantage to it. And now the last advantage, for any type of chew is obviously entertainment, is that I used to give my dogs the dental chews just because I wanted to give them like a treat that they could hang out and chew on for like 20 minutes. And this has kind of replaced that, because now my dogs will just take one of these bones, walk over, lay down, and chew on it for like a half an hour. And obviously most people know that dogs like chewing, but chewing is really, really good for dogs. Like, one, they have an oral fixation that they just really, really enjoy it, but two, it actually helps them relieve stress. I'm not a vet by any means, but my understanding is that when they're chewing, it actually is releasing endorphins to help them feel good. So chewing is a very, very important part of our dog's life. And that's why, obviously, I want to make sure that I have something that my dog can really, really chew on without worrying about it falling apart or getting eaten. So that is pretty much everything that you guys need to know about the Benebone 4-pack. Thank you guys so much for watching. I'll see you in the next video.